Well, good evening, everyone. The kill is never wrong. The kill will make you strong. My name is Andrew Martin. Welcome to Absolutely Criminal. It's just you and me tonight. Tiffie Lou is otherwise engaged. She's taking our son to the airport. Stayed Thanksgiving with us. So, yeah, we're really happy about that. But we have a good show for you tonight. Surprising update about Stephanie Lazarus, and I think most of you have heard of her, but so a surprising update in case you haven't heard. I hadn't and just found out today. And then we're going to get out the world's tiniest violins and let us know if you have sympathy for the prisoners who have been stabbed in prison recently. We've had Derek Chauvin and Larry Nassar. A lot of high-profile prisoners being assaulted lately in prison, and this, of course, Jeffrey Epstein years ago, or a couple of years ago. And finally, we asked earlier today in our poll, do you think Charlie Adelson will flip? And last time I checked, it seems the majority of you think he will. But we will find out. If he gets offered a good deal, he might go through with it. All right. Welcome to our moderators. Amelia Sparkles and Renee are here. J Baby Funky Lady is here for a live. Welcome. And more will come in as we go along. How was everybody's Black Friday and Thanksgiving? We certainly had our fill, and had my son and his boyfriend here for the weekend and a couple days after. And they're from New Hampshire, so they were visiting us, and it was really nice. It was really nice. We had a good time. So, but we're back at it. It felt like a big, long vacation, but my daughter's back at school today, so we're ready to get back into it. Yeah, so Stephanie Lazarus, I heard today, she's the woman that was convicted in 2009 of killing her boyfriend's rival. I'm going to give you a quick update or a quick rundown of what the case was about, and then we'll go through what the update is, which is kind of unbelievable to me. Sherry Rasmussen was found dead in her home in 1986 with multiple gunshot wounds and evidence of a brutal struggle. Initially, the case was treated as a botched robbery, and no subjects were immediately identified. But the early investigation overlooked Lazarus as a suspect, despite some leads pointing towards her. Lazarus at the time was an LAPD officer, a detective for the art division, and had previously been in a relationship with Rasmussen's husband, John Rutten. Now, decades later, the case was revisited as a cold case. Advances in DNA technology allowed investigators to reimagine as well, evidence from the crime scene, particularly a bite mark on Rasmussen's body that contained saliva. The DNA from the bite mark was eventually matched to Stephanie Lazarus. This evidence directly contradicted the original theory of the crime and led to Lazarus' arrest in 2009. Now, during her trial, the prosecution presented evidence of Lazarus's motive stemming from jealousy and her previous relationship with Rutten. Lazarus was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. However, on, November 16th, I believe it was, she had a parole hearing, and the parole board recommended parole. So she could be paroled as early as 6 months from now. In case you're wondering who this is, let me show you the beginning of her interrogation. Let me know if you guys want to watch this on the show, because it's one of the best interrogations I've ever seen. She comes in unsuspecting. She thinks she's going to help with like an art heist or something like that. These detectives bring her into the room at the jail. So because she had a firearm on her, and at the jail you have to check your firearms in order to come into the facility. And so they let her in there, and then they ambushed her, and this is what it looked like as she walked into the room.
Well, have a seat. What this is I didn't want to bring this up in your squadron.
Yeah, this never gets old for me, Sparkles. I've probably seen it about 4 or 5 times. The only one I've seen more than this is probably the Russell. Oh God, what was the guy that the pervert in Canada with the underwear? Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. But that's the only one I've seen more than this, or maybe Chris Watts.
Oh no, it's fine. I think we're good.
Quarter to this turn. You're going to bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, I can explain the whole thing
That's fine.
I didn't want to talk about this in the squadron because I don't know who people are listening.
That's true.
And if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is doing.
No problem.
Okay. But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at. Okay. It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes.
Welcome, CC Orleans. I'm here, but Tiffie Lou is not tonight. But we're watching the Stephanie Lazarus interrogation, watching the first few minutes anyway, because the news is she's been recommended for parole. Yep.
To see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Rutten?
John Rutten?
Rutten.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
God.
Laura Lee, I'm jealous. I wish I could watch this again for the first time. Her ex-boyfriend, John Rutten, Stephanie killed his wife, her rival in love, and got away with it for a number of years. And in 2009, she was a detective at the LAPD for the art division, and they brought her into the interrogation room where you see her now.
I went to school in, let's see, went to UCLA in 1978. I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's regarding...
She's about to find what it's all about. Welcome, Laura Lee. We're so happy you're a new member, too. Thank you so much.
It's a case we're working on, and it involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we good friends. Lived in the dorms I lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
We dated. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to.
Thank you, Russell Williams. I could only remember Russell and the underwear.
His wife.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago.
It was like 1,000,000 years ago. Can you imagine? You think you've gotten away with this murder, and you get called in to this little dinky interrogation room, and they drop the name of your murder victim's ex-husband.
I may have met her. Geez.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, are you guys? Is this something? I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how you guys are.
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie. Here's the.
That was like 1,000,000 years ago. Yep, CC. She has been recommended for parole by the parole board, so she could, at the earliest, be paroled 6 months from now. Our governor here in the state of California, Gavin Newsom, has to sign off on that. I don't know which way he'll go, which way he leans in this kind of stuff. But, yeah, potentially she could get out.
Situation is basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on.
Yeah, so that's all I have for tonight. But let us know if you guys want to see this interrogation, because I certainly never get tired of it. And a lot of you never do either. And for the ones that have never heard of it, it's a certain treat. So Stephanie Lazarus, LAPD detective, has been recommended for parole on her conviction of murder. And speaking of convicted murderers, get out the tiniest violins in the world, because lately a couple of them have been assaulted in prison. And I want to hear what you guys think about this, because I mean, there are so many resources in prison and federal prison to go around. They're short-staffed. Do you think they do the best they can to protect high-profile prisoners? People like Jeffrey Epstein, or recently Larry Nassar was stabbed about 6 months ago. He was the doctor that abused all the women in the gymnastics, U.S. gymnastics. And then Derek Chauvin, the police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, was recently stabbed just a few days ago in prison. So I want to show you guys a few of these videos, then we'll talk about them. This is an interesting one about Jeffrey Epstein's last days in prison. Of course, he was the billionaire that had a black book with the world's most prestigious, exclusive names in it. And he died in prison under suspicious circumstances, a lot of people are saying. Not saying it was a conspiracy, but it looks pretty weird. So we'll talk about it after this.
New documents show convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein left a meeting with his lawyers to call his mother. She had been dead for 15 years. More than 4,000 pages of records obtained by the Associated Press detail the days leading up to Epstein's death. And
yeah, okay, so yeah, welcome moments in trading. Derek Chauvin was stabbed a couple days ago. We're going to hear more about that. And speaking of high-profile prisoners, Jeffrey Epstein, there are a couple things here I didn't know, which, I mean, the cameras weren't working and the guards were asleep, but there were even more coincidences, and they go over them here.
How Epstein struggled to adapt to life behind bars, awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking involving minors. 2 weeks before his death, the 66-year-old millionaire, who had hobnobbed with rich and famous and had his own private island, could not sleep in the now-closed Metropolitan Correctional Center. He sat in the corner of his New York cell, covering his ears to block out the sound of a broken toilet.
Tonight, Jeffrey Epstein, the multimillionaire and accused sex trafficker, was placed on suicide watch.
Epstein was placed on suicide watch in late July after he was found injured in his cell with marks around his neck. Records show Epstein described himself as a coward and someone who does not like pain, but according to the documents, denied being suicidal, saying, "Lots to do for legal case, wonderful life. It would be crazy to take my life."
So do you think Jeffrey got what he deserved, CC? I think, I don't know. A lot of people are of my mind that he did not end his life, but I mean, he very well could have. What did he have left to gain? It looked like he was going to be in prison for a while, but he also had people's names in that black book, like presidents and wealthy CEOs and shit, that he traveled to his pleasure island with to sleep with underage girls.
Perhaps the most bizarre revelation in these documents, Epstein mailed a letter to another notorious sex offender, Dr. Larry Nassar, the former U.S. gymnastics team doctor convicted of abusing young girls. Epstein's letter was returned. With no cellmate present, Jeffrey Epstein took his life August 10th as 2 guards sat just 15 feet from his cell, failing to check on him.
Okay. And these guards 15 feet from his cell not only didn't check on him, but they allegedly were asleep and shopping online.
Prosecutors say the guards slept and shopped online. To avoid jail time, the guards struck a deal with prosecutors and admitted falsifying records.
You're now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning.
Today, Epstein's legal team said it's still waiting for full reports on his death, remaining skeptical he died by suicide.
And Ann Thompson joins us now live in the studio, and there's a lot of new information in these documents. But there's also a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Do these documents take them on?
No, they don't. But what they do is they explain that the Department of Justice did a psych reconstruction and found documents unsealed in Epstein's case the day before he died, eroded his status in prison. And they believe that that, coupled with the few interpersonal connections and the fact that he was potentially facing the rest of his life in prison, all were likely contributing factors to his death.
Yep, I mean, that'll do it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube
And
channel.
ladies
Follow
and
today's
gentlemen,
top stories and breaking
just
news
entering,
by
hang
downloading
on
the
a
NBC
second,
News
wait a minute.
app.
Just entering the studio is Tiffie Lou.
Hi.
How you doing, Tiffie Lou? You got back early.
I know. I was able to pop in, say hey. So I missed that entire first story. I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, Stephanie Lazarus, and I don't know if you know about her either.
I know her name. Why do I know her name?
Because she is the LAPD detective that was convicted of murder. And her interrogation is one of the most famous on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to have to see it. I don't know if you've seen it or seen part of it.
I think I have seen part of it.
But she was just recommended for probation or parole.
Parole? God, they'll give it to anyone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, last I heard, she was eligible in 2034. So I don't know what the deal is, why she got early.
Overcrowding? I mean,
Possibly, yep.
I just thought they got rid of drug dealers for overcrowding.
You know, our wonderful governor who is not running for president, he swears, is Gavin Newsom. He still has to sign off on that. So we don't know, but the earliest she could be released is 6 months. And then we're talking about high-profile prisoners who have been assaulted in prison lately.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And you know Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, not personally, but yeah.
Right. He reportedly had a lot of names in his little black book that were
Hey, Cece. Hi, Renee. Sorry, I just saw these. I had to say hey. Sorry. I don't know how to undo them. I just keep hitting buttons.
Hey, Casey Brooke, welcome. Yeah, no, I'm glad you came in because we have also, do you remember Larry Nassar? He was the USA gymnastics doctor.
Yeah.
That was convicted
of all kinds of questionable things.
So I have a news report on him as well. We're going to go ahead and watch that here. He was stabbed 6 months ago.
Now, Larry Nassar, the doctor convicted of sexually abusing dozens of female gymnasts, is recovering after he was stabbed at a federal prison in Sumter County. That attack happened Sunday during a fight. Nassar stabbed several times. He is said to be in stable condition. And joining us this morning to talk more about it is prison expert Larry Levine. Thanks so much for being here this morning. How are you?
He looks like every character I've made in Grand Theft Auto 5.
I was just gonna say he looks like from a movie. Yeah.
Movie or video game.
Doing great. Glad to be with you.
So I want to talk first, Larry, about high-profile inmates, because this is
Welcome, Angel Baby.
not an unusual thing. We saw the same thing happen with Jeffrey Dahmer, other high-profile inmates. Why do they become a target?
Well, sometimes the other inmates want to get what we call street cred, credibility, and they'll pick somebody who's high profile. A lot of these people, I mean, this guy was in a USP, United States Penitentiary. He was never getting out. And a lot of those people in there with him, same thing. They know they're never going to get out. So what's the big deal if they stab him or even kill him? It's not like they're going to get extra time. The interesting thing, though, is this particular yard, as they call it at Coleman, that's a dropout yard where you have like former cops, child molesters, high-profile people that can't mix with the general population.
All right, Carrie, we're happy you've been binge watching us. I appreciate it.
She's a binger.
You're a binger. Yeah, so Larry Nassar. Let's see.
So I'm surprised something like this happened there. But whoever did it, I mean, I don't know if it's a fight. I don't necessarily believe everything the BOP has to say. But whoever did it, it looks like it was an ambush. They got him from behind, got him twice in the neck, twice in the back. He fell backwards. Then they popped him, 6 times in the chest. This is an angry person that did it. And the timing is really unusual. Well, not unusual. They're short-staffed as it is in all the federal prisons. At about 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
So it's like the prisons have the same staff as Walmart, you know?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And they're paid just about as well.
Nice.
As
nice.
Walmart employees. So the question we're asking tonight, do you think that prisons, the federal prisons in particular, do enough to protect their high-profile inmates? And, you know, there are a lot of people that feel, well, sentences aren't really tough enough. They kind of get what they deserve. But clearly they're not being protected well enough, whether on purpose or not. What do you think, Tiffie Lou?
Not at all. Not at all. I realize people, I always was under the understanding, and this is just, obviously I don't go to prison often, but the people that are in for child molestation, aren't they usually in solitary?
Yes.
Well, then how can he get stabbed if he's in solitary?
Right. And so was Nassar, I believe. And so was the next guy we're going to look at, Derek Chauvin.
Well, then how do they get to him?
Well, Derek Chauvin, they got to him in like a communal yard where they have the protected inmates, but they commune with each other every now and then. So presumably either someone from there or someone paid to have them hit. We don't know yet. But yeah, it's in those little private yards where they walk them around like animals once every...
I just assumed that they had to do that alone.
Right. Yeah, I did too. I presume they had to spend their whole time alone there.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Okay.
Somehow they got to him.
All right.
And so then here is Derek Chauvin. In the summer of 2020, of course, he murdered George Floyd on that Minnesota street. And he was recently stabbed in prison as well.
In this evening after someone stabbed him in a federal prison.
The former police officer was convicted of killing George Floyd during an arrest in...
Okay, moments in trading. Thanks for making that distinction.
Oh, they aren't in solitary.
Right. I mean, the pod is sort of in solitary.
Okay, so they're like in their own little community.
Yeah.
Of other people that have committed similar or the same crime.
Similar, or they're hated like chomos, you know, so child molesters that have,
all right,
you know, are targets as well.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Moments in Trading. Yeah, I've always been kind of confused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
May of 2020. A source this weekend said that Derek Chauvin was hospitalized but stable. He's serving his 22-year-old sentence in a federal facility in Tucson, Arizona. As Esme Murphy reports, federal prisons have long been viewed as a safer place for high-profile prisoners like Chauvin.
This instruction to the jury.
Derek Chauvin is the second high-profile federal prisoner to be stabbed in the last 5 months. Larry Nassar, the former USA gymnastics doctor convicted of molesting young gymnasts, was stabbed in a Florida federal prison in July.
Yeah, I will drop that in the chat. Thanks for reminding me, Sparkles.
Tamburino is a criminal defense attorney who has clients in both federal and state prisons. He is not affiliated with this case.
Federal prisons provide more protection and they have greater services.
The Bureau of Prisons is not commenting on whether a shortage of prison guards was a factor. During both federal and state trials, Chauvin's attorney successfully argued that he served both his federal and state sentences in a federal facility because of safety concerns. While in Minnesota, Chauvin was held in isolation at the state's maximum security prison in Oak Park Heights for his own protection. But isolation is usually reserved as a prison punishment. Chauvin has reportedly been a model prisoner.
And that's the devil's choice, you see, because if you want to be fully protected, you have to go in isolation or segregation. But it's horrible to serve your time in segregation.
Chauvin's attorney complained over the weekend that his family was not notified of the stabbing until well after the news broke.
Yeah, thank you, Renee. Derek's prison, not surprisingly, is probably understaffed.
It seems like all of them are, you know?
Federal and state prisons are probably, yeah. I mean, just like everything else is these days, you know, with retail and fast food. Doesn't seem prison systems are any different. And then speaking of another prisoner, he's not in federal prison, but he's about to be in state prison probably, is Charlie Adelson.
Of course. I hope he flips. I'm not kidding, because if he does, we'll get to see Wendy go down. You know?
Yeah, and a lot of people have been talking about that. In fact, I just remembered I forgot to upload the clip. So keep the people entertained, Tiffie Lou. I'm glad you came.
Wow, okay. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do have kind of a question.
Okay, good.
Okay, so prisons are overcrowded and understaffed.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like a hippie or anything, but maybe some people that have been like, maybe we shouldn't be arresting for some things, you know? I mean, prisons aren't full of murderers and child molesters.
Oh, sure.
They're full of all sorts of little deeds.
They're full of nonviolent offenders. Yeah.
So shouldn't we kind of, I don't know, be more selective on who serves a sentence?
I mean, in my opinion, for nonviolent criminals, you know, certainly.
Obviously, if you're a child molester, if you've attempted to kill somebody
Yeah.
or did kill somebody, yes, obviously. But I'm saying, like, not everybody in there is in there for that.
Right.
Some people are serving pretty hefty sentences for something pretty small. And then I've seen people that should have served way more time that get out. You
Well,
know,
sure, yeah.
I mean, obviously that has a lot to do with your lawyer and yabba dabba dabba da, but I don't know.
And then they mix those people.
Just arrest.
Hold on, sorry. They mix those people with people that are in there for life, and they have nothing left to lose.
Right.
You know, so what's it to them if they get one more charge? Maybe, yeah, like Carrie Brooks says, maybe rethink some of those weed charges, huh?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Or, you know, and the other thing is, it's not even just weed, you know, but like thinking about the whole war on drugs thing. This is only on my brain right now because I'm actually doing an assignment on it in class. But so it's very fresh. But the war on drugs thing, it's like putting people in jail for this isn't stopping drugs. It's not stopping people from using drugs. Stopping people from buying drugs.
Not
so
at
it's
all.
just kind of like, you know,
Not stopping drugs from coming across the border.
right. Yeah. So I'm just kind of like, really? Can we just get more ankle bracelets or something? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's no good answer, but I'd rather have, you know, Jeffrey Epstein in prison than a medium level pot offender, marijuana, you know, distributor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah. And then but speaking of high profile inmates, Charlie Adelson, I've been wondering how he's going to do in prison. Of course, he hasn't been sentenced yet, we had a poll today on how people thought he would, if people thought he would flip. And most people, it was about 60-40 last time I saw, but most people thought he would flip.
I think you should, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he should have either not gotten involved with it in the first place or do the right thing.
So do you have that clip or no?
I have the clip of these are 3 prisoners who did like 20 years in the system.
Who's the 4th person?
He's the interviewer
up
here.
okay.
So he interviewed 3 prisoners that have experience in the system in federal prison. And they speculated what it's going to be like for Charlie.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
For Chucky Boy. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. So this was from Surviving the Survivor YouTube channel, and it's worth a listen.
And he was just arrested in April of 2022 after the crime was committed by 2 hitmen in 2014. For those 8 years, those 8 years that have gone by, what do you think was going on in the mind of Charlie Adelson? Like, did he live in fear that whole time that the law was coming to get him? What do you think his state of mind was and is now?
That's what I was wondering too. How much stress do you think he lived with for 8 years? Do you think he thought they were coming, or worried they could?
I got the impression that the family didn't think they were going to get caught. So maybe there wasn't a lot of stress for most of that time.
I bet there is now.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what it was. Probably, most likely. There's 2 frames of mind from him. First of all, I thought he got away with it. Most people who do something like that and years go by, they think they get away with it. We did it. We pulled it off. Typically, if you're not dealing with professional hitmen, like professional hitters, like, mobbed up guys or street guys from the hood, it don't matter. There's professional killers out there who get away with it all the time. There's guys with 10, 20, 30 bodies walking around right now. More than that, 50 bodies, 100 bodies. I mean, real killers. And they'll kill you for $2,000. But they're professionals and they don't mess it up. I don't know who he got to kill or whatever the case is, but after 8 years, he feels like he got away with it. But that's the thing about murders. There's no statute of limitations. It can come get you. So when I was in prison, this quick story.
Yeah, and this story is pretty good. But yeah, I think Charlie was clearly miffed, at least by Wendy's testimony or in her part in the trial. He certainly looked pissed off. So you think he blames her?
Oh, hell yeah. Of course. Does. She used him for his money and any connection he could have had to have this done.
Right. And she threw him under the bus
completely
as soon as she could, basically.
Before I went to prison, I was questioned about a murder. I was seen with a guy, my cousin Johnny. We walked out of a Coney Island restaurant 45 minutes before he killed 2 guys. You see us walk out together and you kind of don't see where we go. 45 minutes later, he killed 2 guys, drug dealers, and stole like, I don't know, $80,000 from them, I guess. And anyways, they questioned me and said, were you, they tried to imply that I was I was there, which I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But for the next 20 years while I was in the street and in prison, every single day that I was thinking about it every day. I was like, man, this could pop up, man, and then when I finally did get a parole after 13 years, and I'm thinking I'm going to walk out the door on that day. And as soon as I go to walk out the door, they're going to go bang, grab me, go, nope, we got you in there, hit you with this murder charge, just, accomplice or whatever the case. Never did because there was no evidence or I guess, but but that stuff looms over your head and it don't ever go away, man. And if you did it, they'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and as Moments of Trading said, Charlie and Wendy were arguing and not speaking while after Katie was arrested. And I don't think they're probably speaking right now to each other. Although we know Charlie recorded a conversation or was captured in a recorded conversation with his mother about how she's going to flee to Vietnam. And Charlie, he shouldn't take all the punishment alone. I mean, he's still got time before sentencing, right?
That's true. I guess he could get that arguing lawyer to try and
Yeah,
get
for
him a
whatever
better
he can
sentence or
get, I don't
something.
know. Or maybe Donna coming in will flip on Wendy dear.
Her own daughter.
Mm.
Yeah, if and then you gotta remember these days when they doing these murders, it's too many cameras out here. It's cameras everywhere. Big Brother's watching you. He watching us right now while we doing this interview.
And everybody's telling. Everybody's telling.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. I mean,
told the geek. I love it.
Gunner, it's way harder to get away with a crime in 2022 than it was in 1922, right? Because of the amount of surveillance out there.
That's for sure. The surveillance didn't come around until maybe the early 2000s. There was cameras here and there. Security, you could get away with a lot up to then. Believe me, I did. But at the end of the day, I found this is the reason why I was very independent when I did my crimes. When I robbed a lot of drug dealers and banks and all kinds of places, and I didn't get an accomplice. I didn't want an accomplice. I didn't want to bring anyone in on it because I couldn't trust them.
Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this before, not when planning a crime, but other people talk.
Yeah. There's no guarantee there's going to be silence.
So the more people you tell, the more at risk you are.
Right.
That's how most people
And
do.
look at Wendy talked about it with everybody. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I would tell them, and this is a horrible thing to say. This is a really horrible thing and I didn't mean it, but I would tell them, if we're going to do this together and you get pinched, you shut the hell up. We'll get you a lawyer. We have some friends that are judges. Blah, blah. But if you tell her, I'm going to kill you. And then if I can't get to you, I'm going to kill someone you love. I made them believe that I meant it, which I didn't. I wasn't a homicidal lunatic. I wasn't going to go killing their kids, but I made them think I meant it because, that's their life. And in the end, you're better off not including anyone, because if you include anybody, like the guy, if he would have killed the guy himself and done it right, we wouldn't be here. But clearly there was a break in the chain. Somebody did something wrong, and not to mention with the surveillance, but you should be looking at surveillance if you're going to go kill someone in public. You should be doing it, not where there's cameras around and surveillance.
Yeah, ironically, Charlie, if he had done it himself and not involved those hitmen.
Not only that, the hitmen tackled him in the broad daylight. And, I'm like, please.
Right.
What the,
Well, and plus they rented the car with their own name.
They're just so stupid. It's like they've never done it before. Are they sure they're really Latin kings?
Thinking right now, if you're Charlie, about flipping on either your sister, your mother, or your father, and what is going through his head potentially?
Well, once again, I can only speak for myself. Families, just in general, no, I would not flip. But I just don't know what his mindset. But I've seen a lot of people flip on family members and things like that. So I would not be surprised, but I don't know.
You gotta remember, you said a key word. Most of the times that guys flip on somebody, it's behind a woman. And I seen, in my time, I seen people tell on their mother, they tell on their father, they would even tell on their dog if they had to. It's just that it depends how he built. If he, if he's about that life and he's strong, he don't want to see his sister go down, because you got to remember this. If you bring everybody down, who you going to have there for you? Because most of the people that you consider as your friend is really not your friend when you get caught up in that situation. So it depends how he move and how if he need, commissary or anything, he got to leave his family member out there, because he got to take the weight, because of if they go through all of them, who you have.
Yeah, he's probably mourning his own conviction and going through the stages of grief. So maybe he'll come to his senses, and I don't even know if they'll offer him anything.
Okay. Let's put yourself in that situation, though. Okay. Would you turn on your sister?
And
she's listening, so that's why I'm asking.
If I did this for her and then
she
threw me under the
immediately
bus,
dropped your name in the first interview she's ever had,
right?
Would you turn on her?
I mean, I'm sure if she did that, Charlie knew that before the trial, right?
knew. Oh yeah, that she outed him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She had to. I mean, he had to. No.
What about your mom?
Would I flip on my mom?
If your mom was like the instigator of everything.
First of all, that's really cute to think that. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, what's stronger, family loyalty or the justice system? And what kind of man is Charlie?
He's weak. He's
Mhm.
gonna flip.
All right. Well,
But I wouldn't even.
Oh, I know you wouldn't flip.
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
flip. No, no, snitches get stitches.
Mm.
No way.
you would suffer in eternity rather than
And I
flip.
would just make
Going to
them feel
be,
guilty forever.
It's going to be impossible for him. Somebody to go from that world, that life, that environment to the prison environment. I'm not saying he won't adjust. I'm not saying that he won't adapt. Most guys do. I've seen it. I've seen it a million times. It could be. He will probably, most likely, fall prey to predators. They're going to prey on him. They're going to extort him. They're going to abuse him. They may rape him. They may take sexual advantage of him. They're going to prey on him, probably. For sure. He's not going to join a gang because he's too soft for that. They don't want him. So he's just going to be. He's going to be that terrified white dude who's all the time a victim, and that's what's going to happen if he's in prison, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've seen that on 60 Days In, right? The guy that comes in there doesn't look like he belongs in prison.
And then they always say he's in there for marijuana selling.
Mhm.
They're like, he's always the same reason. I'm like, gosh, make this guy like a tax evasion person or something.
Right.
There's no way this guy is involved in crime, like.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know
at
how to
least
talk
not
about
street
it.
crime, and yet they don't know what the hell to say.
Mhm. But they have plenty of commissary money, and they're talked into getting, giving it to
because
other
they're all
people.
scared of getting their butt kicked.
For protection.
They definitely gonna snort them, and it depends, when he get in there, through the bullpen, who he going through with A&O. Depends. Sometimes it depends. Like somebody.
Interesting.
I thought she wasn't supposed to talk to anybody involved in this case. So is Wendy not really involved?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then I hope they play the recordings for us one
I know
day.
that would be great to hear.
They might just be cool with him, just having a conversation. And then, most of the time, he probably get a job in the dentist department, so he gonna take care of some people. But he definitely gonna give some money up. He definitely gonna get it started. Trust me.
Well, I think so. When I'm when I'm looking at how he is, I can only imagine. Maybe I'm sure there are plenty of guys like this in the yard where he would be the one that comes on the yard, says, "I'm not a real criminal. I was framed or whatever. I'm better than everybody here." And I think that's what's really going to make the guys not like him at all. He's going to become this is the mark that we're going to get, because someone that comes in, they think they're better. And I could just totally imagine that type of person on the yard with money. He had Ferraris, he had all this money, and his guys don't hate him because of that. But I think the guys would hate him because he would view that he's better than everybody else. That I am not a real criminal, and that
Well,
will
it comes
come out.
across that way in general.
Yeah, he does.
Like he already thinks he's better than everybody else.
Yeah, like there are plenty of rich guys who could come to prison and they wouldn't hate them for that alone, like you said. But if you come in and you're like from the life Charlie was, yeah, they're going to sense that. I think Charlie is going to get extorted for real now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Starts with commissary, and then they turn him out.
In the way he talks, the way he interacts with the men on the yard, and that's what's going to cause him to be, unfortunately, victimized.
They don't care about who you are. They care about the money. How can I extort you? You know what I mean? So it's like when you got that high profile case, and let me be real with you, sometimes it help you and sometimes it really hurt you. You know what I mean? Because they looking, when they watch it, when you come in there, they don't see you Charlie. They see money. Or your family got this, you had that, you got this going on. So listen, this is what my family need. And then, basically time, if you don't do right by them, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I feel.
Yeah, if Charlie goes into prison looking anything like he did when he first came into the courtroom,
Mhm.
remember when he was all gaunt and he looked
Yeah.
scared, then he's going to be taken advantage of. And they've
Mhm.
probably already seen that.
So I feel sorry for Charlie, man. You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
it happened that way. Sometimes when you put your family in your relationship, this what happened. It's not even worth it. Sometimes you gotta let it be. Let you.
Yeah, exactly. The things that worked for Charlie on the outside are not
Mhm.
going to
It's a
work for him
different
in there.
system.
He can't buy. He can't buy his way out.
Let your sister deal with it. But sometimes you got to step back. If the man would have put his hands on him, yeah, you ain't had to kill him. You could have just beat him up and left it like that, set example. But when you kill that person, this is what comes with it. That's the name of the game. Anybody that want to be a part of this life, the street life, the hustling life, it's something in the background come with it. So you got to understand that if you're not built for it, you shouldn't be in it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that was a good interview. You could see that whole 90-minute episode on Surviving the Survivor. Was really insightful. It was done just after Charlie was arrested, but not before his conviction. But they all pretty much pegged it
Yeah.
that they thought he would be convicted.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, eventually he's going to run out of money. I'm sure he's running pretty low already.
I'm pretty sure he's probably tapped out right now, dude. I mean, he's been
Mhm.
dealing with this for a while and paying his big bearded lawyer guy who likes to yell and stuff,
Yep.
I think he charges per decibel, so that could have really set him back,
And then, yeah, you got to be willing to risk your life. Charlie has to. The other thing they said on here, and we've seen this on 60 Days In too, is if you're called out, you have to fight. Like if somebody calls you a bitch and you don't fight back,
Mhm.
then you're gonna be that bitch.
Yeah. Like even if you lose,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to fight. You got to swing. You got to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but you really have to sacrifice it and go for it, because if not, you're gonna get beat up anyway, and badly. Yep. Hey, welcome, Crime Curious.
Yay.
Crime Curious has a new podcast coming up in a couple days, right?
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Unless and Until, I think, is the title, right? But it's on November 30th. But feel free to tell us more about that in the chat. That's a couple days from now. For so many people involved, not one of them put a stop to it. Right. Yeah, I mean, 5 family members
Which
had.
means they're all involved.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're all guilty.
Yeah, and there's no way they kept it from Wendy till the very end.
Yeah.
That's what he gets for lying about himself being extorted. Now he's going to really see how it is. Now he'll be extorted. Yeah. He claimed that he was extorted the first time, but then there was a second time, and he's just a permanent victim. Yeah, I can't even imagine the spoiled dentist brat in there. Makes me very happy, though.
Right.
Yep. All right. Well,
I'm glad I was able to pop in for some of this.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back.
I know. I was afraid I was going to miss the whole thing. So.
Was there a lot of traffic out there?
No.
No.
No, just a lot of back and forth.
People are going home.
Yep.
Yep. Well, we will be back on Friday, right? Because today's Tuesday.
Yep.
So we'll be back on Friday, closing out the month of November. And we just
no, it'll be December on Friday.
Oh.
It'll be December 1st.
So today's closing out the month of November.
Yes, today is. Yeah.
And just a couple days ago, we passed 7,000 subscribers. So.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That was really cool. We really started climbing really quickly for a minute there.
Yeah, we had
I'm
a
hoping it continues. That would be great.
We had a really good month of November. So tell your friends. We're the best channel your friends have never heard of.
I know.
So if you know anybody that's into true crime, let them know.
And if you like to laugh at the criminals, we kind of need to be very straightforward about that.
Mhm.
Seeing a few comments of people that don't appreciate our humor.
They're like, who are these assholes laughing in the background?
Yeah.
This shit's not funny.
I know. Well, we think some of it's funny. So,
Yeah. I mean, if you don't think it's kind of funny, you're probably not going to enjoy our
you're
channel
knocking
anyway.
on the wrong door. Yeah, right.
So, you know, what else are you going to do unless you laugh? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. December is this week. Just a few shopping days.
Gosh, November flew by. I feel like I've just finished Halloween, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's gone really, really fast. And on Crime Curious's new podcast, she basically exploits her friend's attorney or her defense attorney friend's career for true crime content.
Awesome.
That sounds like fun.
Hook us up.
So we'll be there in a couple days on I guess that's Thursday, right? Thursday
Yeah.
the 30th. Crime Curious. All right. Let us know what you'd like to see coming up. Check out TiffieLou.com for these last-minute Christmas gifts. And check out our membership tab if you'd like to see some exclusive episodes or our regular episodes 2 days early. And members, we owe you an exclusive coming up pretty soon. So Tiffie and I are going to have to figure out what that is, right?
Oh yeah, we got to come up with something. Maybe we got to hit up Crime Curious's friend and see
Yeah.
see what they could loan us.
Send us a defense attorney.
Right.
All right. Well, everybody, Tiffie Lou, I'm glad you came in. And for Tiffie Lou and Absolutely Criminal, I'm Andrew Martin. We'll see you Friday.
All right. Have a good day.
Love you. Bye.